Okay, guys, good afternoon. Today we're going to do section 5.1. Section 5.1. Okay, in section 5.1, we have the properties of exponents. Section 5.1 and also 5.3. Okay, to begin with, we will start with the product rule for exponents. Product rule for exponents says the following. It says x to the nth times x to the mth equals to x to the n plus m. This is called the product rule for exponents. Okay, an example of this is the following. X to the 6th times x to the 9th, we just add the exponents. So this becomes x to the 6th plus 9, which equals to x to the 15th. Okay, so this is the product rule. Product. I'm going to put product right here. Product. The product rule. And here's the quotient rule. Quotient. The quotient rule says the following. It says x to the nth divided by x to the d. That's a d. X to the nth divided by x to the d. Note, by the way, it's got to be the same base. You cannot have two different bases, the same base. When you have the same base, you subtract exponents when you're dividing. And when you have the same base, you add exponents when you multiply. Okay? X is the base, n is the power. X is the base, m is the power. X is the base, n is the power, x is the base, d is the power. So this becomes x to the n minus d. Okay. And of course, an example of this is the following. So this is example 1, and here is example 2. So here we have x to the 9th divided by x to the 4th. Okay. By the quotient rule, we subtract exponents. We subtract this denominator exponent from the numerator exponent. The answer goes up in the numerator. So this becomes x to the 9th minus 4. Note, the answer goes up in the numerator when you subtract the denominator exponent from the numerator exponent. So therefore this becomes x to the 5th. Okay. Now, we can only apply these rules when we have the same base. If we have different bases, for example, x to the 4th divided by y to the 5th, you cannot apply the rule. This stays the same. X to the 4th divided by y to the 5th. There's nothing you can do. Okay. Very good. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to erase this because obviously I need the room. And let's look at more exponents. Okay. Let me give you an example first. Example number 3. Example number 3. Watch this. So if we have x to the 4th times y to the 6th times x to the 11th divided by x to the 4th, x to the 14th, okay, x to the 14th times y to the 8th times x to the 9th. Okay, I think that's enough. That's enough. Okay. Now, if this is the case, look, we can multiply this x to the 4th times this x to the 11th. There's nothing you can do about this one. Okay? So let's simplify the numerator and then simplify the denominator. Okay? And then we'll use the quotient rule. All right. So x to the 4th times x to the 11th is x to the 15th, y to the 6. That's in the numerator. X to the 14th times x to the 9th is going to be x to the 23, y to the 8th. Okay. Now that I have this, I'm going to apply the quotient rule. I can only apply the quotient rule when we have the same base. Division with the same base. So therefore, what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to say this equals to x to the 15 minus 23 times y to the 6 minus 8. I am applying the quotient rule, okay? And so therefore, this equals to x to the what? For the exponent of this base x was 15 minus 23. Negative 8. Y to the what? Negative 2. Okay. Now, guys, when it comes to exponents, we do not allow negative exponents. When it comes to powers, no negative exponents, okay? So we have to come up with another rule to get rid of negative exponents. So therefore, what we're going to do is, we're going to get this rule. This is the reciprocal rule. Reciprocal rule says this. Let me see. How should we say it? X to the negative n equals 1 over x to the n. Okay. Hey, we're going to apply this rule there. And also this rule there. Okay. Let's do that. So therefore, this one here is 1 over x to the 8th. Don't forget this multiplication, okay? And this one here is 1 over y to the 2nd. If you multiply 1 times 1, you get 1. If you multiply those two, no, you cannot multiply them. You cannot multiply them because different bases. So therefore, we just say x to the 8th times y to the 2nd. And that's all you can do. All right, very good. So I hope this is making sense. All right. Now, let's apply the following. We also have the power rule. Okay, the power rule. So this is the product rule. This is the quotient rule. And we can call this the reciprocal. Reciprocal rule. Okay. All right. Let's do the power rule. Power rule says this. Power rule, okay? Power. All of these are rules for exponents. So the power rule says this: x to the nth times y to the mth raised to the kth. Okay. Now, think of this as a house. A house, and this is, sometimes I call this power, I call it roof. Okay. This is a house right here, and this I call it roof, like R-O-O-F, roof. Okay. The rule says that, the product rule says that when this house is being raised to the kth power, everybody in the house has to be raised to the kth power. In other words, you have to apply this k to everybody in the house. It's like this. If I call this the roof, apply this k, the power, to everybody in the house, so everybody in the house raises the roof, basically. Let me show you how everybody in the house raises the roof. This is the product rule for a product. Okay. When you have a product in the house and you have a power, okay, and everybody is being raised to that power, here is the rule. We multiply the powers. Okay. The way I have explained it in the past is that if everybody in the house is raised to this roof, everybody in the house gets to raise the roof. No exceptions done. So therefore, this becomes, note, x to the nth gets to raise the roof. How? By multiplying the powers. So this becomes x to the n times k, yep, times y to the m times k. Everybody in the house gets to raise the roof. How does everybody in the house gets to raise the roof? By multiplying the powers. No exceptions done. No exceptions done. Okay, let me give you an example. Okay, here's an example. Consider this. For example, consider 3x to the 4th, y to the 9th, raised to the 3rd. Okay? All right. So my question is, who's in the house? And what operation is happening in the house? That's the question. Note, in the house we have multiplication. If we had addition or subtraction, we cannot apply this rule. If this was addition or subtraction, we cannot apply the power rule. No. But since we have multiplication, because this is multiplication and that's multiplication, that means that everybody in the house gets to what? Raise the roof. Who's in the house? 3. 3 is in the house. And 3 has a power of 1. You don't see it there, but it is there. Power of 1. Okay? It's a power of 1. All right, so 3 is going to raise the roof. How? Multiply the 1 times the 3 times this power. So this becomes 3 to the 1, 3 times 1, which is 3. X to the 3 times 4, which is 12. Y to the 3 times 9, which is 27. Okay? And this power is it's small enough so that you can raise this 3 to the third power. Okay? Note, this 3 to the third power is 3 times 3 times 3, which is what? Which is 27. So therefore, this becomes 27 x to the 12 y to the 27th. And there it is. That's the answer to that. Okay. Let's give another example. Another example. Here's another example. 2 to the 2 times x to the negative 7 times y to the, 14th times z to the negative 5. And now this is raised to the second power. Okay? Now there's many ways to do this. Obviously, there's many ways. Okay? But what I'm going to do is I always simplify the house first. The house, it's already in simplest form. Okay? I'm going to apply the rule now because the house is in simplest form. Let's apply the rule. Everybody in the house gets to what? Raise the roof. How? This x to the nth, to raise the roof, you multiply the k times the n, and you get x to the nk. This y to the mth raises the roof, you multiply m times k, and you get y to the nk. Okay, I'm going to apply that rule. This 2 to the first, yes, it's in the house. 2 to the first, look, 2 to the first gets to raise the roof. That means it's raised to the second power. By multiplying 1, there's an invisible 1 there, you don't see it, but it is there. 1 times 2 is 2, so this becomes 2 to the second power. 1 times 2 is 2. X to the what? X to the negative 14. Y to the what? Y to the 28th. Z to the what? Z to the what? Negative 10. Hey, wait a minute. This has a negative exponent, not allowed. Let's apply this rule. Okay. To apply this rule, look, just bring it down. There's a denominator there. To apply this rule, bring this down. Let's call it reciprocal. You bring it down and change the power sign. If it's negative, it becomes power of a positive. If it's positive and you bring it down, it becomes a power of a negative. Okay. All right. This is a negative power. I'm going to bring this x down. That's a negative power. I'm going to bring the z down. So this becomes what? And by the way, what's 2 to the second power? 4. This y to the 28th, that's a positive power. It stays up. Y to the 28th. Divided by. This comes down. X to the 14th. This comes down. Z to the 10th power. And it's been simplified. Okay. Don't forget, whenever we apply this rule, we always try to simplify the house first. Think of it this way, okay? Whenever we raise the roof, we want to clean the house, okay? So whenever you have a power there, that's the roof. Whenever you have a house that raises the roof, you better clean the house. After you clean the house, then everybody in the house gets to raise the roof. But first, clean the house. By the way, there's another rule that I need to go over. And this rule is called it's the power of a quotient. Yeah, power of the quotient rule. Yes, like this, look. There's the house. There's x to the n divided by y to the mth. And this is raised to the k. So this is the power of a quotient. That's what I call it. Okay. Power of a quotient. This is the power of a product. Power of product. And this is power of quotient. This one. Okay, well, that's a house. And this puppy in the numerator is going to raise the roof. And this puppy in the denominator is going to raise the roof. How? Well, this one in the numerator, just multiply n times k. And this becomes x to the n k divided by y to the m k. That's the way we do it. Okay. Let me give you an example of this. Okay, don't forget. It's important not to forget. Every time we raise a roof, we better clean the house. Okay. What do I mean by that? Here. 18. X to the 4th. Y to the 9th. X to the 7th. Divided by, I'm going to say 27. X to the 8th. Y to the 11th. Y to the 2. And this is raised to the, I don't know anymore. Let me say 3. Yeah. The third power. Listen, guys. Before you apply this rule, the product, which is what we have there, the product of the quotient, you better clean the house. Before you raise the roof, you better clean the house. Does that make sense? Whenever you have a party and we raise the roof, I hope you clean the house. Okay? That's what I'm gonna do. Before I raise this roof, I'm gonna clean the house. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, how do I clean the house? Well, let me see. I know that 9 goes into 18 and 9 goes into 27. Yeah. Okay, I can do that. Listen, I am simplifying the house before I raise the roof. Okay, so therefore, look, the roof stays there because I have not simplified the house. I am simplifying the house. There we go. So 9 goes into 18 twice. 9 goes into 27 3 times. Okay, you see that? Now I better multiply this x to the 4th times x to the 7th. Hey, that's x to the 11th, y to the 9th. And I'm going to multiply, well, let me see. This is y and y. Okay, so this is x to the 8th. I'm going to multiply those two. Y to the 11th times y to the 2nd is y to the what? 13th. y to the 13th. Okay. I better continue simplifying the house before I raise this roof. Before I raise the roof, I better simplify the house. I'm not done. Okay. In the house, I'm going to apply the quotient rule. Okay. So this becomes what? The house. That's a 2 up in the numerator. And now I'm going to say x to the 11 minus 8. What's 11 minus 8? 3. Okay. Y to the 9 minus 13. Listen, you can say y to the 9. What's 9 minus 13 up in the numerator? Okay, up in the numerator. Y to the negative 4. Okay, so this has been simplified, this has been simplified, and there's a 3 in the denominator. And the roof is still there. Okay. There you go. By the way, note, I'm going to bring this x to the negative 4 down. X to the negative 4 comes down. In which case, I could have just subtracted the 9 from the 13th in the denominator. I did 9 minus 13 up in the numerator. I could have done 13 minus 9 in the denominator. And I would have got this. Bring this down, okay? We're trying to simplify the house before raising the roof. All right, bring it down. You don't have to, but you can bring it down now. Okay, here we go. So this is a 2. That's an x to the 3rd over a 3. That's a y to the 4th. Raised to the 3rd power. You see this x to the 4th? I could have just said y to the 13 minus 9 in the denominator. 13 minus 9 in the denominator. But I did 9 minus 13. This 9, this power, numerator power minus denominator power in the numerator. Numerator power minus denominator power in the numerator. And I got this. I could have said denominator power minus numerator power in the denominator. Denominator power minus numerator power in the denominator. And I would have got that. Okay, but it's fine if you did it like this. Now that the house has been simplified, I can raise the roof. Okay. All right. Everybody in the house gets to raise the roof. What's 2 to the 3rd? 8. What's x to the 3rd? To the 3rd? X to the 9th divided by. What's 3 to the 3rd? 27. What's y to the 4th to the 3rd? Y to the 12. And there it is. Okay. Got it? Okay, very good. All right. There's one more rule that I want to go over. Okay, one more rule that I want to go over, and then we're done with this section, okay? One more rule, which is the following. I need the room, okay? So I'm going to have to erase it. Erase. Okay, here we go. All right, note, sometimes this roof, I call it a roof, like I said earlier, this power of the quotient, this power of the product, I call this power roof, I said. That's what I said earlier. Sometimes this roof is gonna be negative. No problem. The concept is the same, okay? Here's the rule. If this power or this roof is ever negative, we're gonna make it positive, okay? Let me see. But before we go there, let me just give you the rule. Here's the rule. Let me go back and, oh, here's the rule, okay? Whenever this roof is negative, this power, here's the rule. Here's the rule. X to the nth times y to the nth raised, let me say it like this. It's better like this. Hold on. Sorry about that. Sorry. Here. X to the nth divided by y to the nth raised to the negative k. This is, it's still a power of the quotient, okay? Okay, no problem. Whenever this power, the roof, whenever the roof is negative, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna take the house, you're gonna flip it over, that's called the reciprocal. You're gonna take the reciprocal of this house, and that is gonna make this negative roof positive. Whenever you flip the house, it changes the sign. We don't do this, but if this sign is positive and you flip the house, it becomes negative. Now that we don't have to do that because it's already positive, okay? So we use that rule whenever this roof is negative. This power is negative. So here is the rule. I'm gonna flip the house, and this negative power, this negative roof becomes positive. So this becomes y to the nth, look, I'm flipping it over, the reciprocal, divided by x to the nth, hey, and this becomes positive, positive k. And now I apply the product of quotient, this one. Now, just multiply the powers. And now this becomes y to the n times k divided by x to the nk. All right. And this becomes what? Well, that's it. That's the rule. Sorry. Forgot about that. That's it. All right. Example. Here we go. 3 to the negative 2, x to the negative 8, y to the second, divided by 2 to the fourth, x to the negative 5, y to the negative 11. And this is raised to the negative 3. Let's make it smaller, okay? Negative 2, just to make it smaller. Negative 2. There you go. Okay, here's my advice. My advice is to always simplify, like I said earlier, simplify the house before you raise the roof. Simplify the house before raising the roof. Before you raise to this power, you better simplify the house. Okay? We can do that. All right. Guys, this 3 to the negative 2. Okay, there's different ways, okay? There's different ways. But I'm going to stick to my way. Okay. 3 to the negative 2. If we bring it down, actually, let's bring it down because I want everybody to simplify the house. Bring this down, this power becomes positive. I'm trying to simplify the house. So this becomes the following. That's a 2 to the 4th. Yeah. Times 3 to the 2nd. You see, power became positive. You see this one? X to the negative 8 divided by x to the negative 5. That's x to the negative 8. And then minus 5. I'm applying the quotient rule that I gave you earlier. And this is y to the 2 minus 11. There you go. And then raised to the what? Raised to the negative 2. Okay? Listen, what am I doing? I'm trying to simplify the house. I'm trying to clean the house. Before I raise the roof, clean the house. Okay? All right. I forgot to do this, but now this becomes what? X to the negative 8 plus 5. X to the negative 3. Y to the what? Y to the 2 plus 11. 13. Divided by. Okay, divided by what? 2 to the 4th times 3 to the 2nd. And this is raised to the, note, I have not flipped the house yet, okay? To the negative 2. Okay, I'm almost there. Okay, this is 16, and this is 9. If you want to do that, you can do that. Okay, so this is x to the negative 3. Okay. Here, before I go there, I think I am ready to make this power positive now. I think I'm ready to make that power, this power positive. Before I do that, okay, I'll bring this down. So this gonna be, note, I'm not gonna flip the house yet, okay? Let me make sure. I'm not gonna make this positive yet, okay? I'm trying to simplify the house first. All right, sorry. Simplify the house first. So this is y to the 13th. And this is this is 16. Okay, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. And this is 9. This square is 9. And this x comes down. X comes down to the 3rd. And this power is still negative because I didn't flip the house, okay? Nowhere did I flip the house, guys. Here, my roof is negative because I didn't flip the house. I'm just trying to simplify the house. I brought this down, there it is. Divide those 2, I'm showing you the work, there it is. Divide those 2, there it is. I'm trying to simplify the house. Okay, this is 2 to the 4th, 3 squared right there. And this numerator became negative 8 plus 5, which is negative 3. And this is 2 minus 11. That's 13. Note, I'm trying to simplify the house. Okay, this came down because it had negative power. Bring it down, there it is, and that stayed up there. Oh, and now that I have simplified the house, I cleaned the house now. Now I'm ready to raise the power. Yeah. And everybody in the house gets to raise the roof. All right? I'm running out of room, guys. Okay, so let me go there. Okay? So I'm coming this way. All right, guys? And so this becomes, I'm gonna flip the house now, and this becomes positive. So this note, everybody, I'm gonna flip the house. I see a 16 times a 9, x to the 3rd divided by y to the 13th, and now I change the roof to a positive. And now I can simplify, or I can apply the rule. Okay? You can multiply 16 times 9 with a calculator now. Okay? 16 times 9. Let me see. 6 times 9 is, what's that, 54? Takes 5. That's 54, takes 5. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 5, 14, right? 14. X to the 3rd, y to the 13th, raised to the 2nd. Okay? All right. So here we go. Okay. Now this becomes 144. 144 to the 2nd power. X to the 6 over y to the what? Y to the 26. Okay. And now everybody use your calculator and take 144 to the 2nd power, and that's going to be 144 to the 2nd power times x to the 6 divided by y to the 26. Okay, and that's going to be your final answer. All right, good class. This is section 5.1. You can do the homework now. Okay. I will also do section 5.3 later on today. Okay. All right. I'll talk later.